All right, welcome everybody to episode 5 of Clout Room. First of all, I want to thank you guys for tuning into the last couple episodes and giving us some great feedback. It is a pleasure to be here, and in today's episode, we have a very special guest with us today. He is one of Bitclout's OGs. He's one of the youngest members on the platform. He goes on Bitclout by the name of 100. His name is Yogya. Welcome to the platform, bro. How you doing today?
Thank you. How about you?
I'm doing great. First of all, thank you so much for joining us. Greatly appreciate it.
Dude, of course. This is really exciting. I'm really excited.
Yeah, and we've been talking back and forth through Discord, so it's awesome to finally see face to face. And yeah, man, it's awesome. So first of all, tell us a little bit about yourself, man. So I know you are 15, first of all, which is amazing. I would have never guessed, if you didn't put it on your bio, I would have never guessed.
I think like some of the most important details about me are just like, okay, so I guess I'll just like start with the normal introduction, like the basic ones, and we can go more in depth later on. But my name is Yogya. I'm 15, turning 16 in a couple of months. So I can like finally actually drive, which is really exciting. But I'm from Toronto. I have a couple of really, really cool and like unique interests like public health, genomics, gene editing, data visualization. Like these are all things I'm kind of exploring right now. I have my own organization called CBT, which is pretty much a nonprofit focusing around misinformation and what I like to call the infodemic, which is kind of like an epidemic, but just of misinformation. So my main goal with that is to just spread awareness about COVID-19 and, hopefully reduce like its impact. But I'm also a research assistant at Harvard, just focusing mainly on data visualization as well, kind of similar to my org, just kind of like an extension. But that's kind of like a really, really basic introduction about me. Like, the juicy stuff about Bitclout we'll get into. But yeah.
I mean, that's awesome, man. You're already doing so much, it sounds like. So walk us through a day in your life. So what do you do? Because I know you're on Bitclout. So walk us through a day. You get up and what does your day look like?
I'm sure like you, I also just like check Bitclout the first thing when I wake up. I usually wake up around like 7:30-ish because I have school, which really sucks, from like 8 to 3, which is pretty much just like all dedicated school time. Yeah. But after 3, I usually spend like a couple hours doing, my org stuff, research, school, and then also Bitclout. Like those are I think are the 4 main things that I really spend all my time on right now. And I have to kind of stay home. I'm not vaccinated yet. Hopefully soon. But until then, I'm gonna be staying home, just kind of chilling. And just doing all that stuff. So it's a pretty like basic day, but it's very repetitive, to be honest. Like today's Thursday. I didn't even know that, to be honest. But time just goes by really, really fast nowadays.
Same. Yeah, I don't really look at the days anymore. It's very repetitive. Exactly. Like someone was telling us the other day, we've only been on Bitclout for 2 months, but it feels like so much longer. Yeah, so much longer. Well, so talk to us now about Bitclout, right? So you're 15. How did you hear about Bitclout? Because you're pretty young for the demographic that's on the platform. So how did you hear about Bitclout? What got you interested and what kept you interested on the platform?
I think like in terms of just like us kids or the youth on Bitclout, there's like a big bubble of Toronto kids from what I've noticed. Nice. Like there's me, Sigil. There's a couple other people as well, but I think we all kind of started after Sigil. So like he and I kind of knew each other before Bitclout. So we're in this program called TKS, which is just like a human accelerator for teenagers, kind of focusing on different technologies and whatnot. And we were in like a shared Slack, and he just posted about it. I think he was talking about like ICOing himself when he turned 18. And he found Bitclout a couple years later after that post. And then he was like, this is the perfect thing. So he started up, and he posted when he was around like $300 a coin, which is kind of crazy to think about because he's like 4K now. So a lot of his friends got on. I'd say not necessarily like all of them, but a lot of them got on. But a lot of them just didn't do anything after that. Like they got on, they looked around a little bit because this was like I think March 20th or around that. I joined the 22nd-ish, if I believe. So I got on and I was exploring, and I thought it was really, really interesting because I personally like wasn't really into blockchain or crypto. Like all I really knew about it was Bitcoin, obviously. It was like really, really big hype. It was like really hyped at the time, and it still is now. Just the whole market crashed. Like that was kind of crazy, but that's kind of the story about how I got on. So it was mainly because of Sigil, to be honest, and I just kept posting and interacting with people. But I think my main intention when I got on the platform and why I stayed on was just to kind of learn about blockchain and learn about like, you know, BitClout itself, because I thought it would be like something huge for the next few years at least.
Nice. And it's awesome that you mentioned that, because for me, it's something very similar as well. I wasn't too big on blockchain. I do have cryptocurrencies, but I've never really looked at like the back end of how blockchain works, or, you know, that whole, that was all new to me. I learned that on BitClout. So it was cool that's kind of what attracted me to it as well.
Yeah.
So talk to me a little bit about CoinValue, right? Because is that something that caught your attention when you joined the platform, or were you just trying to learn about blockchain, or what was it that initially said, you know, I want to invest my time onto this platform?
I mean, the money like was one thing, obviously, right? Like if you're putting in so much time,
Yeah.
you want some, you know, monetary value back in return. And I think
Yeah.
like, you know, even without like a whole exchange or just OTC, like I have made a decent amount of money, right? Like that's not necessarily always been my goal. Like when I go into decisions or when I start making posts, when I talk to people, when I spend time, like I don't think about how I'm going to make money off this, right?
Yeah.
Because again, like I said this in my last interview, but like I have parents, I have like a house, I have food, I have everything I need pretty much, right? Like the only time I'll actually need money in the foreseeable future will just be like for college or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's still like a bit away. So my main goal right now isn't necessarily to make money, but just to bring value, because I know money, network, even stuff like this, they'll come after that, right?
Exactly.
Um, but in terms of like what I thought about coin value and coin price, I thought it was very unique, right? Because I know one of the big things that caught my attention when I first saw this was I remember the Mr. Beast tweet. I don't know if you saw it, but he was like, I wish I could invest in small YouTubers before they blew up, right? Like DM me if you're 100K or subscribers or less, and I'll like buy like a stake in you or whatever,
Yeah.
right? So he posted about that, I think like a year or two ago. I don't remember the exact date, but if
Hmm.
someone as successful and as smart as him kind of predicted this in advance, like far in advance, even before all this blockchain and Bitcoin and whatever hype, right? I
Yeah.
thought it was at least something to try out for sure.
Exactly. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, and I do remember that tweet actually. I don't remember when it was, but I remember that tweet specifically, which is awesome. We were talking about it, you know, with the Reed in the last episode. You know, if Elon Musk does join the platform, you know, let's say, or somebody to that caliber, and they start investing into small creators, we will see innovation like we have never seen innovation before, I believe, you know? So it's really
Oh,
cool
for sure.
to see that, to have that vision for BitClout. Absolutely. But
Mhm.
talk to me a little bit. So like, how do we get more of the youth to join the platform, right? How do we get more creators to come on the platform and maybe not see it as a way to make a lot of money quick, but more so see it as a long-term investment of, I'm going to produce valuable content, you know, I'm going to get investors and I'm going to build the platform, instead of just, because I feel like some people look at it as like a get rich quick scheme, right? Like
Yeah, yeah.
I just want to come on here, make a lot of money and leave. So what do you think we can do for that, especially for the younger generations?
Okay, so I think there's two parts to that question. The first one is
Yeah.
the younger kids, right? Like people my age.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest thing for that right now is just general like exposure and awareness. Like I was very, very lucky to have someone like Sigil on my network who just posted about it because he's really into this type of stuff. But a lot of people don't even know what blockchain is. Like I remember this
Yeah.
I remember this exact thing we talked about like in my business class, right? Just full of like 16 year olds pretty much. And we're all talking about blockchain and Bitcoin. And no one knew anything. Like it was kind of like mind blowing because even me, like I wasn't necessarily too into blockchain as I mentioned, but I understood like how it works. I understood its
Yeah.
purpose, I understood its potential. But all they were talking about was like Bitcoin, Bitcoin. I have like I'm gonna buy Bitcoin. They don't even know how to buy Bitcoin. Like, come on. Like so I think that's one really, really big thing. Like kids just need to be more like aware and exposed to this type of stuff because school especially is a very, very like I like to think of it as a glass ceiling. Like you can see the potential, like you can see the potential in yourself, but whenever you try to get closer, they just push you back down with that 100%, and you don't strive to get
Yeah.
more. Right? That's kind of how I like to see things. But I think just even talking about it, or as you said, getting bigger people on like Elon Musk. I think like imagine if he posts, people are gonna like, start looking like people who think of him as an inspiration or as a role model. They'll start looking into what Bitcoin actually is, and they'll start looking
Yeah.
into what Bitcoin. They'll start looking into Ethereum, blockchain, DeFi, and so on and so forth. Right. So I think that's the first big thing, just to
Yeah.
make it like a little bit more accessible. That's also kind of a separate thing, but on the same note. But for the second part of your question, where it's just like, how do we show the people the long-term value? I think right now everyone kind of thinks about it like that because no one is really sure about the future of the platform, right? Like there's bigger people on here like Arts and you probably who understand where it's gonna go. But to the normal person who just gets on and kind of has fun with it, they don't really understand that, right? So they
No.
just kind of look at the money and they're like, they look at the investment side of things and they just like put two and two together and they want to make money, which is obviously completely fine. But I think there's people who take that too far of an extent, like the scammers. Like
Yes.
like Charcoin was insane, and there's 2K a day. You came back today as 5K a day, which I don't
Yeah.
understand. But there's always going to be people who try to do that. But I think just making sure, like as time goes on, as the platform becomes more legitimatized, well, is that even a word? Legitimatized,
Yeah.
with like exchanges and more bigger people coming on. I think that is kind of when it's going to pivot to a more long term value prop, if that makes sense. But right now, people just don't fully grasp the potential. I don't think.
Yeah, absolutely. And you brought a good point about schools, right? I feel like this technology is so new, and I don't know if schools are teaching these things, right? I'm not sure. But so if I'm a kid, where do I learn about blockchain? Where can I go? Right? I either go on Reddit, I go on YouTube, Twitter, or other platforms because you're not learning this in school. So it's kind of new technology, right? So
For sure.
I feel like as more kids start getting access to these tools, learning about blockchain, hopefully we will see an influx of the youth on the platform because the youth is the future. If we can get a lot of the youth on BitClout, that's awesome. For example, TikTok, right? There's a lot of youth there. I know you mentioned, I think we talked about it a while ago. You are on TikTok, correct?
Yeah, I use it more than I should, but yeah, I'm on it.
So talk to us. How do you split your time now between social medias, right? What is which platform are you on the most as of now?
I mean, like TikTok is mainly like a before I go to bed, just kind of like scroll
Scroll.
through when I'm bored.
Yeah.
Instagram is like pretty much where we all talk, like all my friends and stuff, because of obviously COVID, we can't meet up or text. But
Yeah.
Instagram is mainly to talk. Twitter, I don't even use anymore. Like I barely used that before, but it's just like
Yeah.
gone altogether. And Snapchat again is just to kind of like send videos or record things or just like talk with friends. But pretty much I'd say like my time is split 70-30 with BitClout and then other platforms. Yeah.
Nice. Awesome. So, what about the rest of your friends? What platform do you find that they use the most or that you guys connect with the most? Because I'm sure you've told them about BitClout. Have any of them hopped on the platform or a lot of them? What's the feedback there? Talk to us about that.
Yeah. So I mean initially like everyone I was talking to about it, like this was beginning of April-ish. I was telling them about it and they all just like thought it was a scam, which is obviously okay. Like that was very, very early. Like we're
Yeah.
still early, but that was very, very early. That was like a month in. But then after I like started to post about it more openly on my Instagram and started to do interviews and talk with like really, really cool and awesome people, they started to kind of get a little bit more curious. And I
Yeah.
got like I think it was one day where I posted like I had like a 200K market cap, which was absolutely crazy. And I posted about it and I was like, BitCloud is so cool. DM me if you want like, some help getting on or something. And I wanted to like, kind of bring it to more people. And everyone's just asking me like what it actually was because all they saw was the money, the profile picture, which is a weird
Yeah.
koala. They all asked me questions on
Yeah.
that, and then the bio, right? Like no one really asked about the blockchain aspect. So coming back to my other point, like no one asked the intention. They all asked like about the money. If that makes sense, which
Yes,
is kind of human
exactly.
nature, but it's kind of human nature. But at the same time, like before even talking to them about the money, I told them what it actually was, and then after that, like they didn't. I think maybe like one or two people got on, but after I explained to them about like the effort that's needed, like how hard it is to kind of get exposure and to be discovered, a lot of
Yeah.
them just kind of stopped the conversation there. But there are a
Ah,
few
okay.
people on the platform, yeah.
Nice. And how would you describe BitClout then to someone your age? What would you, how, in a couple sentences, how would you tell it, like, hey, this is BitClout?
It's a very like complicated thing to explain. I like to explain it like stocks, but in people instead of companies, right? Like
Yeah.
you invest in them. Like even right now, like how I look at investments on BitCloud aren't necessarily like what they're gonna give me now. Like it's what they're gonna give me in the future, right? Like the potential and like the opportunity cost, like everyone says, is crazy. Like if you put in like $10 now into someone, it could be like 100K or something in 10 years. Like who knows, right? So
Yeah,
the opportunity
exactly.
cost is just it's just crazy. But I like to tell them like it's just like stocks almost, but people instead of companies. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. See, I find like I changed the way I describe it to people based on
Yeah.
how I think
Yeah.
they're gonna like be able to grasp it. But it's kind of
Hmm.
complicated. Right? I just say it's like a social
It is.
network, social
Yeah.
token. I think is the best way to describe it for people. But it's constantly changing for sure. But it's interesting for me because when I was first on the platform, I primarily wanted to focus on the coin price. Right? I was like, how can I get my coin price up? How can I get my coin price up? As I've been on the platform longer, though, I wouldn't say I don't care about the coin price, but that's almost like a byproduct of the
Exactly.
content that you produce
Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
platform. I'm not too focused, and I feel like you are the same way. You're not someone to be like, buy my coin, buy my coin. You're more focused on engaging with the community, and I feel like that's why you've had such a success on the platform as well, right?
Oh, for sure. I mean, like don't get me wrong. Like the dopamine you get from just like large investments or like the psychological aspect is just it's
Yeah,
just crazy, right? And like I think I was dumped like 30K in like 4 hours, which was really like it hurt obviously, but after
yeah,
like a little bit of just like reflecting and thinking, I realized that like all the short term traders are gone. Like at this point, it's only up, and
yep,
I was thinking about like yeah, it's hard. Like when I first got on, obviously everyone was like, buy into me or reclout and I'll like invest or whatever. Like, I actually wrote up a post about this. I'm gonna post later on, but
yeah,
like those things don't work, right? Like at short
yeah,
term doesn't work. Like if you're like I'm gonna give away an NFT to like my top five holders, or even the whole Times Square thing, if you remember that, to my top five holders,
yes, yeah,
like
yeah,
I at this state after like give it 2 minutes after that time and everything is gonna go down, right?
yeah,
Like that's okay once in a while, but you also have to have a long term like vision. You can't just be like I'll give away money or I'll give away something every like week or so people stay. Like that's not how
yeah,
you should be thinking about it, right? Like this is not a lottery. This is a social token, as you mentioned, right? This is the whole point of this is to invest in creators for the long term,
yeah.
right? So I'm kind of like going off of your question.
No,
Could you repeat your
you're
question again?
No, I was just talking about, we were just talking about, like, for example, how people come on the platform. Essentially, what I was trying to get at is people come on the platform and they just try to shill their coin, essentially, like,
Yeah, yeah,
buy my coin, instead of producing valuable content, right? So I feel like that's where there's like something that we can connect, a bridge we can connect is people come on the platform essentially thinking they're salespeople, like buy my coin, instead of just coming on the platform and just providing cool content and just connecting with the community. I feel like I've seen that a lot more lately, especially like I've shared it with a few friends, and that's the way they see it is like, oh, how can I come on the platform, get people to buy my coin, right? So it's like
hmm
I feel like we have to kind of shift the perspective to almost let's build content, let's provide content, and
exactly,
let that be
exactly.
the byproduct. Because if not, it's just going to be a big platform of just like buy my coin,
Spam.
sell my exactly, exactly,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But
Like
yeah,
right.
mhm.
Go ahead,
Go
go
for
ahead.
it, dude. No, go for it. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No worries. Like right now, I kind of like see it as this is not how I see it, but this is kind of what it looks like. It looks like a big trading market of
Yeah.
just like what's the next coin that's gonna pump? What's the next coin? Like when should I get out? Like I'm refreshing every 30 seconds to see how much it goes up by, and then selling it like I don't know if you remember the first like 2 weeks, but like people were making like 30, 40K just for these like big pumps and dumps every
Oh
single day.
yeah.
It
Vegas
was
Dave. You remember Vegas Dave?
I was in that. I was in that. I think I got in at like oh my god, that was when was that? That was like a month and a half ago or a month ago.
I don't even know anymore, but I just know that was like that was a big, big Dave, Vegas Dave day.
That's like a really good example actually. Thank you for bringing it up. He was like, I'm gonna put was it like one Bitcoin or $1 million or something
No,
something
one
like
Bitcoin, I think, or something like that. Or two Bitcoin. I
one
don't, yeah. Mm-hmm.
yeah, he's like, I'm gonna put this into my coin at 10. And then 10 hit, nothing happened. 10:01, nothing happened. 10:02, he's like, guys, he posted something and then 10:03, I think it went from 10K to 7K. Like
Yeah.
it was crazy. Like those big memes you see, like where it just like it goes crashing and crashing and crashing,
Oh yeah.
like the crypto market. Like that's literally how I felt when I saw that happen. And I got in like a little early, but I lost like and think about it, I was like very, very small. I had like maybe $700 or $800 in liquidity. at that time.
Yeah.
So I lost like half of it pretty much the Vegas day because of the hype that everyone was like pushing for it, the big pump and dump. But that's definitely like one important aspect. I know we wanted to talk about scammers as well, but even just like pumps and
Yeah.
dumps and how we treat coins and how the community itself like interacts and its dynamic, that also needs to kind of pivot a little bit, in my opinion, to make it more long term.
Exactly. And I do remember with the Vegas Dave situation, he said that he deposited X amount on his account, but then someone verified the blockchain and they called him out on it. So I guess he didn't
Yeah.
realize, hey, bro, we can see your transactions, So that's cool. That's the cool thing I do love about the blockchain is that
Oh,
there's a lot of
100%.
transparency. But moving
Yeah, for
forward, like
sure.
you were talking about, the dynamic on BitClout has definitely changed from pump and dumps. There's still some there, but there's a lot less of that now than there was a month
Yeah.
ago, right? So that's cool to see. The new users on the platform won't experience that, high growth, high pump and dump accounts like we did. But let's talk about that moving forward, right? So the biggest feedback we get on BitClout is that it's a scam, right?
Yeah.
People on the
Yeah.
outside looking in, they'll tell you, oh man, that's a scam. So what would we counter argue to saying it's a scam? How would we argue against that it's not a scam?
I don't necessarily argue with them because like that's not what I go into things. That's not how I go into things, right? I don't want to
Yeah,
like get angry and yell or whatever. But like I tell them why I think personally it's not a scam, and they can make their own decision. Like at that point, I'm giving you everything in your hand, and then if you can't make the right decision, that's on you. Like, right? But what I mainly
exactly.
talk about is the big backers, right? How much money and support. Like this is no easy thing, and then how big it has become,
Yeah.
right? Like yesterday, I don't know how to say his name. Bala. How do you say his name? Do you know?
I'm not sure either, but yes, he came on the platform.
That guy, yeah.
Balaji's, I want to say, yeah. But
He's.
yeah,
I looked into him a little bit. He's like really, really big on Bitcoin, and he like predicts a lot of really, really big things when it's very small. But people like him, Craig, obviously, Arts, like these really, really big people. Jake, even World Shark Pro is an awesome one as well. They're all
yeah,
they're all like they put in lots and lots of money into this, right? And I think there's lots of like investors as well who are really big. Like I know Reed was also an investor even before Bitcoin came out. And
yeah,
like, why would they invest into something that they don't necessarily have in their hands if they're not super confident in it, right?
yeah,
And when you also look at like the backers, like Coinbase is a backer and Gemini's a backer, like all these really really big crypto people and corporations, they're all backing this platform. So in my mind, it's like a very very small chance that this is a scam, right? Like
yeah,
even if you look at all the whole community and developers and just everybody who's kind of interacting with each other, like there is people who are trying to like scam and stuff, but that's not what I look at necessarily. I look at the good side of things instead of the bad side of things because everything has a bad side, right? Like if you look at Twitter,
exactly.
you know how toxic it is, and if you look at Instagram, there's definitely flaws, right? But there's like more upside, in my opinion, than downside. And then I didn't even put in a lot of money. I think mainly the only thing I could lose potentially is time, which I think is okay
Yes,
because even with that, like I already made so many like friends and met so many people, like even you and I met Jake as well. I talked with him. Just like
nice.
the network itself, and like again the pros are just far away the cons in my opinion.
Absolutely. And you're right. The biggest thing that I think of too is time. If these
Mm.
big investors are spending this much time on the platform, that tells me, that they believe in it, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Especially
exactly.
if they're connecting with the community, trying to invest in the community and get us going. That makes me bullish on it, and it makes me feel like it's less of a scam. And I felt more of that, once I started seeing these bigger guys on the platform. Absolutely. But like, let's move forward to, let's say that I'm someone on the outside looking in. I don't have big clout. What would we say to them as far as what scams are on the platform and what we can do about them and what they should look out for if they join BitClout?
hmm I was actually going to work on something like this, like a on onboarding kind of guide type thing, or for people to
Yeah,
just get on and have like best practices and whatnot at the end, so they can just kind of read up on that because it's very hard for people to identify scams because they're actually
yeah,
like pretty smart now. It's pretty smart
dude, they're getting
nowadays.
crazy. They're
Dude,
getting
I think
really, really crazy.
like like after Charcoin, my mind was blown. So like quick story on Charcoin, they
Yeah,
invested in and me. Like I think they put in like 1,000, and they like made a whole artwork, and they did like a giveaway, and I won that. And I was like, oh, this is really cool. And then we were looking at the cap table, really really big people. And then after they rugged, I was like I was astonished because they sold, I think like they sold like $1,500 or $1,600 in my coin as well, like a minute before they sold their own coin, and it was like very like scheduled and planned. Like there's like 4 or 5 big accounts at the top who all sold at the same time.
Yeah.
But it was crazy smart, and they like played it out for like a month. You know, a website, interactions, a few hours at least of just talking and posting them. It was crazy. But I think in terms of scam accounts, the one big thing that I go by, like I made a post about this as well. I made a post about everything at this point. I had like a couple of big rules. The first one was like if they're DMing you, like, oh, I'm building something, you don't test it out or beta test. That's like a cliche at this point.
Yeah.
So I don't understand. I asked them like, okay, let me try it out. Then I'll invest, and they don't reply. Second one is just like if people comment on your account, on your posts or whatever, like really really spammy or not related stuff, like those are most likely bots as well. Third one is like if they're anonymous. This is specifically for projects and cool things that are built on top of BitClout. Like I wouldn't necessarily just ape it immediately. I'd like do some due diligence and talk with the founders and see what I can like what information I can get on the product, and then I invest. And there's one more I just can't remember, but I think those are the big main ones. Just like don't let your greed take over. In my opinion, like I was very short term at the beginning, just like flipping and here and there like everyone else. But now
Yeah.
I'm thinking like very long term. Like if I put money into someone, I'm not planning on selling like 2 days later. Like I'm
Yeah.
thinking about like in a month what could they look like, or in 2 months what could they look like, right? Instead of just like will this go up in the next 2-3 hours? But yeah.
Yeah. Those are great points. And one thing I've noticed, so the scammers, I should say, they're getting really, really intricate with it. So
Yeah,
what I've noticed now is they will make these new accounts, act like they're new people on the platform. They'll post content, post art. They'll engage with the community, and then 3 days later they just rug pull, and then they're out.
exactly.
You know,
It's crazy.
so
Yeah,
it's like, so how do we differentiate from a new person joining the platform and a scammer? That's been the challenge the last week or two that I've noticed, and it
yeah,
makes it
yeah.
tough to just like want to invest in these new creators. But
That's a
what
good
I've
point.
realized, it's like Instagram, right? If I had someone on Instagram and they asked me to send them money, I'm not going to send them money right away. You know, eventually we have to build a trust in a network,
Yeah.
and little by little you earn the investments. But we should look at it more as a social platform than just an investing platform first. And I
Hmm.
think the secondary effect would be like, okay, let me invest my, BitClout into these creators.
Yeah. I think ASG made a post about this, and he was like half of all the people. Like he was doing like this thing where he
Same,
invests in small creators. I
same.
don't know if I don't know if you like saw this as well, but he's like half of them rugged within a day or whatever. Like it was like five,
Yeah,
$6, maybe $10, but they still sold, which I don't understand. And one other funny thing is like because my name's 100, I get these like really really weird notifications. Like I can't even tell you the amount of times I get like this one post in my notifications. Like if you find $100 on the floor or on the ground, what would you do with
oh,
it? I
yeah.
don't know if you've seen that post. I get at
I
least
haven't.
10.
No.
Dude, I get at least 10 to 15 of those in my notification every single day. Like every
Dang.
single, I'm being so serious with you. Every single day, and there's just like maybe like profiles with like sub $10 coin prices, and they just post the same thing. And if you go into one of these accounts, right, like you can see they post like every minute they post a different post, like for three, like 30, 40 posts within like 10 minutes, and then they wait for people to invest, and then they rug
Yeah.
pull, which really really sucks. But that's a really good point. Actually, I actually don't know how to counter that. So what do you what ones like when you see a small creator, for example, right? Quote unquote small. How do you like kind of approach that? Because I know you mentioned build that trust, let them post. Like,
Yeah.
do you follow them and then watch them for a little bit, or like how do you go about that? Because that's something I also want to continue to look into.
So now for me personally, because yeah, same thing as ASG, I invested in like 10, 15 creators last week, I think 2 weeks ago. All nothing crazy, but the next day I literally looked and they all rug pulled. And they would and they
Yeah.
would and they would DM me, bro. They would DM me like actually like being
Thank you.
friends. I was like, oh, these guys are cool, and then rug pull. So what I'm doing
Yeah.
now personally is time. So they have to, for me now, they have to be a certain amount of time on the platform. Obviously, look at the cap table, look at the content, and just kind of build that trust slowly. But I'm not going to invest in someone that's a day or two or three on the platform just yet. And I think that's a good thing because people should come on the
Hmm.
platform because you also want them to come on the platform and be there long term. If they're coming for a day or two, you don't want to invest in them. So I think people need to look at it as I'm going to be here, and the monetary effect of investments comes after I produce content. Instead of
Exactly.
just coming
Yeah.
on the platform and saying, "Oh, everybody invest in me, I'm new." No, it should be a secondary effect. Almost like, let's see the work first, and then we'll invest, instead of investing first and then let's see the work. So that's the way I'm kind of
Exactly.
approaching it now.
100%. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because it's been crazy. But I think that's how people have to come on the platform and see it that way, because I feel like it's all about content. And there's a lot of great content on BitClout, man. There's so much information. There's so much, there's big brains on there. The memes are quality. There's just, there's just,
Yeah,
there's a lot of cool stuff on there.
for sure. Okay, I was going to say something I forgot though. Oh, yeah. So one thing I think you have to kind of deal with is like the bots who aren't necessarily trying to scam people, but the bots who are like investing really, really early. Like, I don't know if you like silence
Yeah.
people, but they put in like 30, 40 cents into someone. They make like, I'm telling you, they must make a lot of money off that, right? Just because of
Oh,
the
a
learning
lot.
curve and how it works. Like, I had someone who invested like 30 cents into me when I first, like, I remember this clearly because I had the $7 that I got from Merlin. Oh, I
Yeah.
hated that guy so much. He put in like $34 because I think it was my username or whatever. And my coin pass was it was like $2 already, and I could only buy like two or three. But then at
Yeah.
that point, I couldn't do anything else. So I bought like one coin, and I just left it. But like I was trying to like think about this the other day. But like, what if they held to this point, right? Like they could from 20 cents, they could have made so much money and like hurt me so bad. But they sold a little bit earlier, which is few. But like
Yeah.
that type of stuff is very concerning. And then also like the big pump and dumpers who are just like very, very like open about it, right? Like not people who are organizing it, but people who are like shilling the coin and waiting for people to invest, and then they just pull it out, right? Like that. I think that needs to change a little bit, but I'm not
Yeah.
too sure about how we can do that. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and I just think it's going to be, we're just kind of living through the trial and errors now. And I think
Yeah,
the
yeah,
community
yeah.
will decide eventually. And, one day people are going to join the platform and not even realize that this was a thing. We're kind of polishing it out for them. And that's part
That's
of
the goal.
being
Yeah.
the startup. Exactly. Exactly. So as far as, creators on the platform, I know a bunch of kids, they want to be full-time YouTubers, full-time TikTokers. Do you see full-time BitClouters as a thing in the future, especially for the younger generation?
I think it depends. Like to be honest, because you have to have like a certain mindset with this platform, right? Like with TikTok, I
Yeah.
can do random dances and I can post
Yeah.
like really, really crappy content, and sometimes it just goes viral. Like those like some of them people are really, really talented. Like don't get me wrong, but like there's like videos who just like what they do is they just put like a video on the top of their head and they look up and like make weird
I've seen
reactions, and
those.
then they
I've
get like
seen those.
30, 40 million views, and that's like a bunch of money. Like they actually pay pretty decently, right? But with Bitcoin, you can't do that. Like you can
Yeah.
you can just tell who's a classic, basic person just posting like questions they got from Google. And but you can also tell people who are putting in effort, like developers and analyzers and stuff like that, right? Like there's a
Yeah.
big difference. You can't just get on the platform and expect not to do anything and make it, right? But like you can kind of do that with TikTok and YouTube, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I think there is going to be a lot of like even Connor Mitchell is awesome. Like he's the guy who got the butt tattoo. Still
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
one of the most funniest moments I think. But I think he quit his job just for Big Clout, which is so cool in my opinion. Like, he did this like I think a couple of weeks ago as well. Like it wasn't even too recent, and like he believes
Yeah.
in the platform so much, and I think he's going to be super super successful on here one day, for sure, for sure. He's
Yeah.
he's successful right
Absolutely.
now, but in the long term, he's going to be up there for sure. Sorry, I'm kind of going away from your question, but I definitely do think there will be like BitClout consultants for projects on BitClout influencers, BitClout developers, like all these things. I think in my head will be full-time jobs, and especially like when an exchange comes out, I
Yeah.
think the price will kind of like drop a little bit, which is expected, but then it'll come back up in the long term. And at that point, like if you can get paid in BitClout, like for clothing or music or NFTs, like if you can treat it as a form of currency to exchange things that people
Yeah.
make instead of stocks or anything like that, I think that will be like the long term vision or the long term goal. So definitely
Exactly.
think it's possible.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the direction that they're headed. I've seen with the changes that Diamond Hands has done on the platform. They want creators to be there full time. They want creators to create valuable content that you can't get on any other platform. And I think as long as that keeps going, eventually it will scale out to the masses, and people will be able to create content and have a full-time, dedicated effort into it. So that's pretty cool to see. And definitely, I believe in that platform. Who are some creators on other platforms that you would like to see on BitClout that you feel would bring just a new dynamic to the platform?
I actually don't know. I had to think about this.
Yeah.
I think like right now there are people from all different types of sectors. Like I talked with Danny, who's like Cool Man Coffee Dan the other day.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah,
talked to him
yeah.
about BitClout. He's so cool. And if you look at his NFTs and art and like his clothing, that's like a perfect match for BitClout, right? Like he was on the platform, but he wasn't super active. But after I talked to him about it, he was like, "Yeah, this is so cool," and I think he's gonna start to be more active. But just like having sounds weird, but having like bigger people from different sectors, like whether that be with models or musicians or
Yeah.
artists or NFT makers, if they can come on and not necessarily like just post, like anyone can kind of post, right? If they can bring unique insight or bring specific products like NFTs or specific like music, like I know pre-releases. Like I know one guy, I don't remember his name, but he was like my top 5 holders will be in my next movie or something like that.
Yeah.
Which is crazy, right? Like just imagine just imagine that. But I think just having more product come in
Yeah.
instead of necessarily like full on content, like building up the actual incentive side of things, I think that will kind of bring this platform to the next level.
Yeah, so more incentives, more people that produce other. So essentially, that will create other users to come on here, and for those special perks, they'll be on the
Exactly.
platform, right?
Like I was thinking about. Sorry, I think about a lot of things. I don't know.
No, let it out.
So I was looking at Patreon, right? Like someone put their Patreon in their bio, and I was
Yeah,
like, I was thinking about like why not just do that on BitClout, right? Like the perks you can get, yeah, we can implement some sort of contract thing, and that can happen on BitClout. But instead of just giving money away, right? Like I'm giving you $5 every single month, like a subscription. Why not
yeah,
invest in you, right? Like I'll put in $5.
exactly.
I like as a creator, I will make some money with the founder reward. My coin price will go up. I'll get more followers. In the long term, you can also get your own money, right? Whenever you stop, whenever you pull out your investment, yeah, your perks will stop. But like it's mutual benefit instead of just like a one way thing where I give you something and you give me something back, right? It's kind of like a two-way thing, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. No, you're right. So, those are great inputs. As far as your vision with BitClout, where do you see, or where would you like to see BitClout in a year from now? Just like thinking long term.
I think the platform itself was literally designed for like creators, musicians, artists, VC funding, um, even like things like photography, model, like services, like all these things can be so easily like monetized and expanded from this platform. Like that's what I really want to see. I want to see people coming on here as their job. Like I want to be like I want them to be like a big clout photographer or a big clout musician,
Yeah.
right? Who makes music or who makes like who does things just solely based on BitClout, if that makes sense. Not necessarily about BitClout, but because of BitClout, right? Like
Yes,
people who,
exactly.
like even very like unknown creators, like if there's like a really cool artist or a really cool like creator who just comes on and explores, like this is the time to do it because of how small and tight knit the community is,
Yeah.
right? Like if one like I hate saying that, but like if one decently sized person on the platform really clouts you, you can get like so much traction just based off that, right? I'm not even
Yeah.
talking about likes. I'm talking about like getting your name recognized, right? Like I saw a photographer earlier today who got reclouded, and I reclouded him as well because his photography was awesome, and I recognize who he is now, right? Like if he engages with me, I'll know who he is. I know his photography. If I want to like buy some photography or something like that, I'll go to him because I know like he's an awesome
Yeah.
dude. So just like that, I think is where I want to see Bitcoin in 1 year, and in 5 years, who knows what's going to happen, right? Like there's so much potential and so many things that can just happen on top of each other. Like it's kind of hard to
Yeah.
kind of wrap your head around.
Absolutely, man. And the way I see it is, how do you feel of like a Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok? We're all built, on a big cloud
Yeah,
platform,
yeah,
right? Game over, in my opinion. That's, it's only a
hundred
matter of
percent.
time at that point. And then kids will come on the platform and it will just grow. So the possibilities are endless. I'm super bullish about the platform, which is why I take so much time out of the week to, be on the platform, engage, make these videos, connect with the community. And it's fun. I'm having a blast, and it's awesome meeting people like you, dude, who are just killing it, who are just killing it.
Thank you. Thank you.
So a question for you. Why the koala? That's a good point you mentioned earlier. Talk to us about that.
Okay, so my Discord, like my personal Discord, it has a koala as this profile picture because I thought they were really cute. Like this was from 4 or 5 years ago when I was in middle school, and I was thinking about a profile picture when I got my username at 100.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to just put like a basic number because that's just kind of weird. Like imagine my profile picture was like 100 with like a flames or something weird like that. Like that's just kind of like, that's not representative of me, right? Like I want to kind of like express my feelings and my emotions and my thoughts through the platform, but that's very basic. So I just literally Googled like technologically advanced koala or like modern koala or like cyber koala. I Googled something really, really weird and I found that it was like it wasn't. I added the lasers after that. After Rodney posted about like a laser call type thing. It was just a koala. I don't know if you were there for that era, but like everyone started putting on lasers, and that's kind of where like I know it was a Bitcoin thing, but it's a Bitcoin thing in my opinion now. But I started with that, and I just kind of took like the first cool picture I saw on Google and just kind of used that and sticking with it now.
Nice. Yeah, I love it, man. It's so unique. I couldn't picture your profile without that now. It's your brand now for sure.
Yeah. And then also like I got really, really lucky with my username. Like I was trying to buy it kind of funny. I was trying to buy 100x, right? Like 100 and then the letter X the other day because I thought it was like a cool addition. And the guy was asking for like 2 Ethereum or 3 Ethereum, which was
shoot.
I don't even have like 0.1 right now, man. I can't buy that off you, but I got really, really lucky with usernames. And actually, like I was inspired by Sigil, who kind of collected a bunch of really, really cool usernames. So I have like 30 accounts.
Nice.
With really, really good usernames. Like I have like I have like a number type thing. I have 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600 I don't have. So I have like a dash, then 600, something like that, and then 700. I have like these numbers, and that I got those like after the whole like blue party hat and red party hat thing. I was like, if I make a lot of money on the platform, I can do something really cool, like a scavenger hunt or something with these accounts because they're all like linked. But I also have like some other common names that are kind of like mainly attracted to my generation. Like I have Yeet, which is kind of I don't know if you know what that is. Yes, I got that. I have like I have Uranus, which is just a planet, which is really cool. I was actually kind of crazy. Like after the whole Lewis thing with planets started posting about space, everyone started to tag me and was like, "Oh, is this his new account?" I'm like, no, I'm not. So I like tag my because I don't want people to invest in me. Obviously, thinking I was him. So I put my tag in the thing. But it was really funny. Like usernames, I think are going to be really, really valuable in the future.
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely, man. That's awesome. Yeah, I have a couple that I got from when I began too that I just kind of keep in the back end there just in case. Where do you see your future on BitClout in the next year? That's what I want to know. What is your so what are you looking to get out of it personally?
I mean, just thinking of like how much has happened over the past 2 months, like I can't even say where I want to be. I can't even say like where I'm going to be because of like how crazy everything is. Like every day is different, pretty much. Every day is different. Yeah. So I don't like I haven't even thought about that. But like the things I know for sure that I want to kind of gain is a network. Like I want to meet really, really cool people. And one of my big goals right now is to actually like meet some of you guys in person. Like I know there's that big conference in Miami next month, which I can't make because of like COVID and parents and stuff like that. But maybe next year or the year after I can come out if BitClout's still super, super big, which I definitely think it's going to be, and meet some of you guys.
Yeah.
But in terms of like long-term goals, I think just kind of putting our content, and I want to create something really, really cool on top of BitClout. Aside from just the content aspect, I want to grow the community and actually like, make it so that BitClout as a platform itself can become, more useful and more valuable. Yeah.
Nice. That's absolutely awesome, man. And I am bullish on you, man. You are going to kill it on this platform as the platform evolves. You're so young and so dedicated and so smart. So it's awesome, man. Question for you though. Let's say I am a 15-year-old. I don't know anything about crypto. I don't know. I'm just a basic 15-year-old. sitting at home playing video games, and I saw Bitclout on a YouTuber's YouTube video. What do I do, or what do you recommend for me to do to be able to be set up for success on the platform?
Okay, so this is an interesting question because
It's a
like this
loaded
is pretty
question. Yeah,
like
it's a loaded
it
question.
is no, it's a good one because it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
like where most teenagers are right now. I think the
Yeah.
biggest thing, like there's two different phases to this. Right, the first one is actually getting on the platform because that in itself is like a big journey. Like as
Yeah.
someone, if you're under 18, you have to like convince your parents to make a Coinbase. Usually, like use their identity. Get like all my crypto is under my dad's name, which is obviously fine, and he is completely okay with that. But
Yeah.
not everyone's parents are comfortable with that. So that's the
Yeah.
first thing. You have to make a Coinbase account. You have to identify yourself and everything, all that stuff. You have to buy Bitcoin, and then you have to transfer Bitcoin, and then you have to pay like crazy fees right now to make that Bitcoin into BitClout, right? Assuming you want to actually buy it. But in
Yeah.
terms of actually just like making an account, like that's pretty simple. All you need is a phone number, and you can buy those and verify them online, even if you don't have a phone. But
Yeah.
I think once you come on the platform, like it takes some time to kind of like take everything in, right? Like you look at the top 10, you look at Elon Musk. Look, that's what I'm pretty sure a lot of the kids are going to do first. Like
Yeah.
look at Elon Musk,
Absolutely.
look at all the. It's very hard to understand, right? Like the bonding curve is one thing, anon accounts, scammers. There's some really weird content sometimes on BitClout,
Yeah.
like very weird. Getting over that, like it's not for everyone, that's for sure. Like I said this before, but like you have to have a certain mindset. But I
Yeah.
think there's going to be a lot of people who come like to explore the platform and just see what it's about. But maybe like 30% of them are going to stay on for the short term, and maybe half of those 30% will stay on for the long term. But just in terms of like general success, I think you kind of have to be really, really specific and unique because like there's probably dozens of accounts, right? Like posting memes or whatever. But if you look at like Hunt Sauce, he's hilarious because he makes them very, very specific to people, right? He
Yes.
makes them very specific. And if you look at someone else like Dirty Milk, which is kind of a funny name, but he like what he does is he pretty much like roasts. He's an awesome roaster, by the way.
Oh
Definitely
yeah.
like have you been roasted by him? I think you have, right?
I
Or not?
have been roasted by him. Absolutely.
like all those really really unique things, like I think that's what you need to do to be successful, right? Like for
Yeah.
us, we're earlier, so it's literally the time to kind of get exposures now because give it a couple of months and like there'll be like a million users or something right on the platform, and at that point it's going to be very very hard for new creators to kind of get exposure. But I think just being consistent, being communicative, and just putting out like unique content, I think is one of the big things you can do to kind of set yourself up for success.
Absolutely. And shout out Dirty Milk. He is undervalued for the
A
content that he
hundred
produces,
percent,
man.
hundred
He is
percent, hundred
killing it.
percent.
It's only a matter of time, though. He's focused on his content. He's going to blow up soon. He's awesome with that stuff. But let me ask you
100%.
this. So let's say I am a 15-year-old kid and I
Mm-hmm.
just want to join the platform, make cool content. My parents don't have Bitcoin or they don't have access to Coinbase. Can I join the platform, learn about crypto or learn about blockchain, not deposit any money, make good content, and be successful as of today? Or do you feel like something still has to change on the platform for that to happen?
I think like this is what you're describing literally happened to me. Like I joined with the initial like $7 or whatever, but like people
Yeah.
did help me out, right? Like the biggest things that like pushed me and motivated me was Brock. He sent me like super awesome guy. He's super nice. I think he sent me like
Brock Pearson or
Brock, just BRUCK.
oh yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
yes. Mm-hmm.
So he sent me like I think it was like $400, and he was like, just go buy your coin with this money because I had like maybe one or two of my own coins, so I bought that, right?
Yeah.
And I think I bought like 4 coins, and he put in like another $400 after that, right? But just having that belief or having people believe in you just based on your content, like without like looking at me or seeing me or knowing about me, but just like with the content and things I put out there, like just having them believe in me, I think that was one of the super big things. But not everyone's going to be that lucky, get that type of
Yeah.
opportunity. But in terms of like how we need to change now, I think it's always coming back to like discovery and exposure and like again scammers, right? Because we're all really hesitant to invest in these type of people. But it's
Yeah.
like a big feedback loop of sorts, right? Like where they put in lots of effort. Let's say for like 3 or 4 days, and they maybe get like a 200 $300 in investments, and that coin invested like 40 $50. Like they're gonna be very demotivated in comparison to like other people who post like oh, thanks for the 10K investment, thanks for the,
Yeah.
like the 5 diamonds or whatever, right? Like they're gonna be very discouraged because of that stuff. And it's not even necessarily their fault. It's just kind of the way like the community is built and going right now. But in terms of like how we need to change, it's definitely just making smaller creators feel more supported, in my opinion, and helping them out. Like Raj is really, really awesome at this. Like he hosted those clubhouse rooms in
Oh
the
yeah.
beginning, just about like, just ask me like anything about BitClout. And I was in those for at least 10 hours, I think, in all 10 to 15 hours.
Nice.
And that's how I got a lot of my insight, right? So just making sure people are aware of these things, like, Raj's clubhouse rooms, things like Gift Clout are awesome, right? Like the Krasenstein twins, they post a lot of really insightful content, right? So
Yeah.
all these things, I think, just kind of have to mesh together for smaller creators to kind of get that exposure and support.
Absolutely. And you bring a good point, because I had one of my friends, he's a trainer, he's a personal trainer, he knows nothing about
I
crypto,
saw that. I
join.
saw that post. Yeah.
He didn't deposit any money, so I bought 6 of his coins and I sent him coins for him to have, and I just kind of gave him the breakdown of how to use it. So
Mm-hmm.
I think I think what I would recommend now to somebody on the platform is come on the platform if you don't have any crypto, if you don't know how to use blockchain, put your founder reward to 100%, keep it at 100%, produce a bunch of
Yeah.
cool content for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever X amount, join the community, engage. And, once you go public, you'll get a bunch of investors after you've built the trust. But right
Yeah.
now, that's the best way I can kind of give advice to somebody, is to do that and to be successful on the platform. And the way we'll help the new members on the platform is, like you said, by reclouding, by commenting, by engaging. That's the best way I think we can help people stay and join the platform. Not necessarily monetary just right now. Personally, that's what I think. But
Mm-hmm.
hopefully, this does help in the future, bringing new members onto the platform.
No, totally agree. I didn't even think about that. Like, I know a lot of people just put their founder percent as 100, just to kind of like the
Yeah.
0 to 1 guy. He's like,
Yeah.
I don't want you guys to invest me. I
Yeah.
don't care about the money. I just want to build the community. I think that's an awesome example, right? So think
Exactly.
about that at like obviously a lot smaller scale, because he put in like 1.3 million or something really crazy like
Something like
that.
that. Yeah.
Dude, I don't understand like. But that's a whole different story. But just I think that's a pretty good idea. Yeah, at least for the short term, until
Yeah,
we figure
and let's
things out.
say your coin is 0. Who cares? If you're providing valuable content, you're going to attract attention. You're going to be familiarized with the
Yeah,
community, and then you can set a date to go public, like a month after you produce content, and boom, you'll get a bunch of investors. And it's not like you can cash out anyways right now. It's not like you're going to make all this money and leave. So
yeah,
why not take the time to make awesome content and just join the community? That's the best way I would advise people now if they don't have access to Coinbase or any crypto deposits, things like that.
Again, it's all about like opportunity cost, right? Like, yeah, someone can come and spend like 4 or 5 hours a day for a week and make like 10K. Like that's achievable. That's reasonable, to be
Yeah,
honest, right now. And they can cash out. But then why would you do that if in like 3 or 4 months that 10K could be 100K just naturally?
exactly.
Right? Like
Exactly.
I don't understand. You're getting 60% of your value, first of all, just off
Yes.
OTC. You get scammed a lot, which is actually pretty like common nowadays too on OTC. But
Yeah.
like the opportunity cost, yeah, you're taking out like like I'm not saying just have 100% all go into Bitcoin. You can take your profits like here and there and take like
Yeah.
I took it like $500-600 just to cover fees and to buy NFTs and other small things I want to do. But I'm not taking out like all my money, because I know that in the future, like there's no way that if this platform is successful, there's no way that I'm not going to make a ton of money if that's your main
Exactly.
objective.
Exactly. So yeah, hopefully we change that dynamic as new people join the
Yeah.
platform, instead of just like
Yeah.
trying to make a quick buck. Let's build that awesome content. Let's build a community and just move forward and grow BitClout. Question I have for you: who is the better roaster, ASG or Dirty Milk?
You can't ask me that. You can't ask me. They're like
Oh, I'm
they're
putting
both.
you on blast. So you know they're gonna watch this, so we gotta first of all shout out both of them. But let's hear it.
Oh no. Okay. Okay. So I can't pick. Okay. I think I have to say Dirty Milk, man, because he's like his whole thing is being a roaster, right? Like if I
Yeah,
don't give him that, then I'm not supporting him. Like with AC, I can with bits today and content and everything. But Dirty Milk is the best roaster, right, on the platform. Sorry, AC, I still
facts.
love you.
I agree. I have to agree as well. ASG has bits today, and he's killing it with that, so it's fair. It's fair.
Like I mean, I was playing Overwatch, which is like this video game with Yurdy Milk, and we were talking about like the things he does in person, and he just overall is like so awesome. Like he was talking about being a barber, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then he's like, I do like 3D modeling of people's head, and then I make like accurate haircuts for everybody. I was just like mind blown.
Oh
Like how
wow.
right? Sorry, kind of random, but he's really awesome. Check him out for sure.
That's awesome, man. And yeah, in the future, I want to maybe bring on like 3 or 4 people at a time, and just
like a
kind
brain
of
pod.
like a round table of conversation, exactly. And just
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
not plan it out and just be entertaining and just have fun. Maybe bring some roast to the table, you know, just kind of have fun with it, you know.
yeah. That would be really funny, actually.
Yeah. So thank you so much for joining us today. Do you have any last words you want to leave to the listeners listening to this?
I wanted to actually say thank you to you because this has been an awesome conversation. I've learned a lot, and I didn't even realize it's been like what 55 minutes, and that felt
Yeah,
like
it's
10, to be
yeah.
honest. But thank you so much, and for all my listeners. Oh my god, all our listeners, all our listeners, you can check me out. Just I'm at 100, and you can even Google my name. Like I have a pretty unique name, so just everything about me comes up.
Exactly. And do you have any? So we're gonna link all your, you know, your BitClout handles and any other handles you want people to, you know, be able to find you at. So yeah, thank you so much for joining us today. And you know, we greatly appreciate your time, and I look forward to looking back on this video in a year from now and seeing how far you've come.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's have you stand by. I'm just gonna close off the podcast really quick, and then so yeah, just give me 1 sec here, okay? All right. All right. So thank you guys so much for listening to episode 5 of Clout Room. We had 100 AK Yogya join us today, and he is amazing. He is 15 years old and he is killing it on the platform. So make sure you follow him, you subscribe, and you leave us any feedback. DM us any questions you may have. We are active on the platform. And he's also active on the BitClout Post Discord. So we'll also link the Discord there as well. And you can connect with us in so many ways. And we look forward to hearing from you guys if you have any questions or anything like that. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next episode. Peace.